Imagine checking your investment account and seeing your returns for the year, not your salary, not your side hustle, just your money, quietly working while you slept, while you ate dinner, while you went on vacation. $100,000 invested at 10% generates $10,000 a year automatically without you lifting a single finger. But here is the problem, almost nobody gets there, and the reason why is something most people never figure out. One of the greatest investors of all time once said something that most financial gurus would never dare repeat. He said the first $100,000 is the hardest, not the first million, not the first 10 million, the first 100,000. And once you understand why, everything about building wealth starts to make sense. Today, I'm going to break down exactly why $100,000 is the hardest money you will ever make, what happens the moment you cross that line, and why most people give up right before the breakthrough. Stay until the end because the last thing I share completely changed how I think about building wealth. Here is what most people experience. They save for months, maybe a year. They hit $5,000 and feel proud. Then something comes up. Car repair, medical bill, unexpected expense. Back to zero, they start again. Hit $8,000, another setback. It feels like running on a treadmill that occasionally throws you backwards. And the worst part? The math at this stage is genuinely brutal. If you have $1,000 invested at 10%, you make $100 a year. That is barely enough for a dinner out. If you have $5,000, you make $500. Nice, but not life-changing. Even at $20,000, you are only generating $2,000 a year from your investments. That is just $160 per month. At this stage, compound interest is not really your friend yet. It is just background noise. The math is working against your motivation, and that is exactly why most people quit. But then something remarkable happens at $100,000. At 10% annual return, you are now generating $10,000 a year. Every single year. Without working for it. That is close to a full month of salary for the average American. Your money is now earning what most people earn by showing up to work for 4 full weeks. That is the moment everything changes. That is the moment your money stops being savings and starts being an engine. Warren Buffett and Charlie Munger both said the same thing independently. Get to $100,000 as fast as humanly possible. Scrimp, save, sacrifice, do whatever it takes. Because once you are there, the entire game changes. Munger said he was almost obsessive about reaching his first 100,000. That level of urgency is not an accident. They understood something most people spend their entire lives never figuring out. But the hardest part is not the math. It is the psychology. When you have very little saved, your brain operates in survival mode. Every dollar feels precious. Every setback feels catastrophic. You are constantly fighting the urge to spend because life is expensive and delayed gratification is genuinely painful when the reward feels impossibly far away. Research shows that people in financial stress make measurably worse decisions, not because they are less intelligent, but because their mental bandwidth is completely consumed by immediate survival. Most people quit somewhere between $20,000 and $50,000, right in the dead zone. Your savings are too small for compound interest to feel meaningful. But you have already made enough sacrifices that you are starting to ask, is this even worth it? So you start spending more. You justify it as a reward for your discipline, and you watch your progress disappear. Then you wonder why you cannot seem to get ahead financially. This is the most common wealth-destroying pattern I see, and almost nobody talks about it because it is embarrassing to admit you gave up this close to the breakthrough. Here is what they are giving up. Getting from 0 to 100,000 takes most people saving aggressively about 5 to 7 years. That is the hard part. Buffett was right. But getting from 100,000 to 200,000 at the same savings rate takes only 3 to 4 years. Because now your investments are contributing $10,000 a year on their own. From 200,000 to 300,000, just 2 to 3 years. The acceleration becomes almost impossible to believe. Every milestone after the first 100,000 gets progressively easier and faster. There is another reason 100,000 changes everything that nobody talks about. Options. When you have nothing saved, you are forced to say yes to things you should say no to. You take the job with the bad boss because you need the paycheck. You stay in the overpriced apartment because moving costs money you do not have. You pass on starting a business because you cannot afford to fail. Not having money constantly costs you money. $100,000 in the bank means you can finally start saying no. But here is the mistake that destroys most people right before the breakthrough. Lifestyle inflation. you hit $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 saved, you start to feel good about yourself. So you upgrade your apartment, buy a newer car, start eating out more, justify it by telling yourself you have worked hard and deserve it. And suddenly your savings rate drops in half right when you were about to reach escape velocity. This is the most painful financial mistake I see people make repeatedly. So how do you actually get to $100,000? Three things matter more than anything else. First, your savings rate, not how much you earn, how much you keep. Even on a modest income, saving 30 to 40% gets you there faster than most people think. Second, automate everything. The people who build wealth fastest are not more disciplined than you. They just remove the decision entirely with automatic transfers on payday before they can spend it. Third, never touch it. Not for vacations, not for cars, not for anything except a genuine emergency. When you cross $100,000, something shifts in how you see yourself. You stop being a person who is trying to save money. You become an investor. The mindset is completely different. A saver thinks, how do I not spend this? An investor thinks, how do I make this work harder? You start seeing your portfolio as an engine that generates money rather than a number you are trying to protect. That identity shift alone is worth more than any investment strategy. Three mistakes that stop most people before they hit 100,000. 1. Lifestyle inflation at $50,000. 2. Keeping savings in a regular bank account instead of investing it. 3. Stopping contributions when the market drops. Every major crash in history was followed by a full recovery. The people who kept investing during the drop came out massively ahead. The ones who stopped locked in their losses and missed the entire rebound. Now here is the secret I promised you. The real reason $100,000 is so hard has nothing to do with math or willpower. It is time. When you are building towards 100,000, time feels like your enemy. Every year without hitting the goal feels like failure. But here is what changes the moment you understand this. $100,000 invested for 30 years at 10% becomes $1.7 million. You do not need to be a genius. You do not need to be lucky. You just need to start, stay consistent, and let time do the heavy lifting. Time is not your enemy. Time is the entire strategy. If this video helped you see money differently, subscribe to Wealth Decoded. Every week we break down exactly how money works in plain English so you can build more of it. See you in the next one.